Hi guys, Crolister here with another Mega Man long play. The final of the games in the Game Boy lineup, until they add the Mega Man X-treme games from the Game Boy Color to the Nintendo Switch's app. This is Mega Man 5 on the Game Boy, or Rockman World 5 in Japan. This is actually a completely different game in the series, as opposed to a make or some kind of telling of, the previous games. So, yeah, this game has a really long opening sequence. So basically what happens is the Stardroids, as these robot masters are called, invaded Earth, and Mega Man's regular Mega Buster wasn't enough to do any damage at all. So, Dr. Light replaces the Mega Buster with a new weapon called the Mega Arm, as you see in this scene. The first 4 Stardroids are actually on Earth itself. I'm gonna do Mercury first, being, in my opinion, the easiest one. So I'm replacing the Charge Buster in this game as the Super Arm, where Mega Man shoots his fist off, and it then returns to him. While this can do quite a lot of damage to enemies, you gotta be careful about messing with it because you can't charge up your next shot or shoot bullets until the arm returns. What a shame, I could have gotten some power-ups there if my memory was a bit better. These guys have their wheels come off and create a bit of a bigger mess after you destroy them. The conveyor belts reverse their direction after so long, so you gotta be careful while crossing them. These enemies are invincible once they get the block that they crush and the projectiles, so you know. That could have been bad there. Very cleverly placed, sliding spots with the spikes there. Exclusively seen in the Game Boy games. This game is hard, though still nowhere near as demanding as Mega Man 3 Game Boy is. That's arguably the hardest one in the classic series. Some of the Mega Man X games are a bit harder, I'd say, though. The ones on the SNES are easy and enjoyable. The later ones, though, can be a bit demanding. Especially Mega Man X-7. That game sucks. I can do the other Mega Man X games at an extent, though. Although Mercury is a very easy robot master, or Stardroid as they're called in this game, to beat with only the Mega Arm. If you get hit with his projectile attack, you lose one of your items, so you have to be careful. After taking a hit on the right, he'll bounce his morph balls to the side like this, and from the left to the right, he'll split into 3, and they'll reunite from there on the side, so you gotta jump out of their way. His special weapon, the Grab Buster, can steal energy from enemies into your own, making it pretty useful if you're at critical health. I'll I'll use that later on in the playthrough, so you know what I mean. So, I'm gonna do Venus. The shaded clusters of bubbles are alive and will come after you as you approach them as enemies, so... You can clearly see which ones are which if you play with the Game Boy Color filter like I do. The bubbles that the crabs shoot out encase you, and you have to hit left and right and shoot while you're inside them to break free before they carry you off. There are also intermittent waterfalls that will come down. Going into them will limit your movement. They also prevent you from climbing ladders. These enemies split. I'll show you what Tango does, though he's not that useful. You have to charge in order to summon him, and he just bounces along like a bouncing saw blade and attacks enemies. He's really not that useful, and most people end up not using him in this game. The owl there that blows and pulls you can make those little energy tank pieces kind of annoying to get, so I'd recommend avoiding those. There's Eddie. Not quite what I had in mind there. The bubble floor makes you jump higher than normal, and then bounce once you land. And these stinger enemies will slow your movement speed if they hit you. You have to go on the larger bubbles and jump at their peak height in order to go the highest with your jump in order to reach the ladder here and get that 1 health capsule. Slide to cross these gaps right here. This part is a little scary. You may find that the stages in this game take a lot longer to play through than the other games. Usually, Venus will jump as soon as you shoot, if you want a tip on how to beat him easily. You require to destroy Venus in order to access Rush Coil. I'm gonna do Mars next. There are some bonus items like P-chips you can get only if you have Rush Coil. This stage and the boss along with it are a bit tougher than the previous ones we've done. Gotta wait for these. There are also mines. Stepping on them will start the countdown, and they'll detonate shortly afterward. Keep out of their range once this happens. Luckily, there's a big health capsule right there. The rocket enemies also detonate after you destroy them. Now we have a really annoying sub-boss. The way the ball bounces along those scrolling platforms is what gets me. These enemies are invincible while they're spinning, and their little bounce ball projectiles are not that easy to destruct. The Mega Arm also has limited range compared to the traditional charge shot from most of the games from Mega Man 4. Then you have to fight this annoying sub-boss again, and I had a bit of a near miss with him. I'm gonna have to use the Grab Buster here. The boss himself is also difficult compared to the others of the first 4 you're given in this game. Because it's a bit more difficult to dodge his attacks, he can be a bit of a pain. He's also invincible while he's in this stance, after dropping the mines. Be careful not to hold the Buster for even a split second if you just want to shoot bullets at him to whittle him down. So I might not have needed to use the energy tank after all. Tough. I wasn't taking any chances. So with this, we have the Photon Missile, a projectile that sits in place at first, and then takes off at high speed. Before I proceed, I'm gonna get a useful item. So then we're left with Neptune. The clutch item that I got will occasionally make the Mega Arm grab an enemy and continue to damage them. That's especially useful on tougher enemies. Like you saw there. That was a really bad ripoff of the B bladders from the Mega Man X series. And this first part of the stage is repetitive. The enemies are cornering me to the point where I have to take damage. I hate big jumping enemies in a series like that so much. Once you get to this part of the stage, though, it gets pretty fun. The water streams will push you back if you stay still. So you have to look where they're going and jump along with them. There are also damage pipes that will spew out once you attack them, and it can be very easy to do it on accident. These ones blow out steam, which hurts you on contact. And these enemies blast after you destroy them, so you have to keep your distance. A rebirth of a Mega Man stage. This boss is not as tough as Mars. He has this jumping movement and shoots a bullet that splits as it lands. The salt water. After this, you have an intermission followed by a boss battle. So the boss we're facing is basically another version of the devil bosses throughout the series. The upper rows of the body will bounce along the ground instead of shooting straight forward. Otherwise, he's not so tough. Now we have another intermission at the lab where Light alerts you that there are 4 more causing trouble in space. So, here we go. So now we deal with the other half of the Stardroids. I start with Pluto. Even though Pluto's not a planet, technically. This game was obviously made before Pluto was deconfirmed as a planet, though. Just like with the previous Game Boy Mega Man games, your weapon energy is not recovered in between stages in the second half. These beam-like platforms will drop as soon as you approach them. Cross them carefully. If they fall onto you, you'll take damage. I'm making sure I get at least 90 of these. For another item I get later. I need all the P chips I can possibly get. I'm progressing now. Gotta be extra careful here. These metals with the shields, after you destroy the main body, you require to hit them with a charge shot from the Mega Arm to make them vulnerable, and then you'll have to repeat the process. You have to fight another mole sub-boss. And then Proto Man appears here. He gives you a random item, and he opens a path for you to progress. Pluto's special weapon weakness is actually Mercury's weapon, the Grab Buster. The weapon you get from Pluto, the Break Dash, is not all that useful. You require it to reveal certain passageways, though. Here's another item I want to get. The Mega Hand. This one takes 90p chips, and it gives you the ability to grab items platforms at a distance by using the Mega Arm. So now we're gonna do Uranus, which is my least favorite stage in this game, easily. These turning platforms are everywhere here, and you have to jump along with them before they carry you down. There are also these seal-type enemies that are invincible while they're attacking. And just a lot of scenes in general where you have to wait, basically. And the stage itself is also very hard, so... yeah. The enemies in this stage are just ridiculous as well. So I got an energy tank from Eddie, go figure. Use the break dash to cut through here, and get this artifact of some sort, which you'll learn more about after I get through here. I'm not good at corner jumping, so I'll use the Mega Hand to get these. That's a horrendous place to have a bird nest type robot enemy there. Gotta put up with this again. These bird enemies can hit you off the platform easily. Unless you shoot them as soon as you come to them. Luckily, the boss himself isn't that tough. Obviously, it takes memorization. Stay away from the opposite side after he gets to that part of the fight, because the collapsing ceiling will obviously kill you instantly. A special weapon that can only be used on stages that have those distinctive blocks. Alright, we got another intermission. All 4 of these planets have a crystal hidden in them. And if you get all 4 of them, you can get a highly useful item that can save you potentially in the Wily stages. I'm returning to Pluto stage to get the crystal in it, because I couldn't get it until I dealt with Uranus. If... Nobody better make any jokes about that name, by the way. Even if you say Uranus, you're still technically saying a bad word. So, regardless of either or, you might as well just say Uranus. The one in Pluto stage requires the Deep Digger in order to get. No matter what order you play them in, if you want to get all of the 4 crystals to get the special item that Dr. Light talked about, minimum 1 stage requires backtracking. So I'm just gonna cut to the part where I get the crystal and back out so you know where it is in the stage. And then, we'll get right back to the scene where I take on Jupiter. Nobody wants to see me replay the same stage again. I'm pretty sure. Interesting how there's low gravity in various parts throughout this stage. Jupiter is supposed to have intense gravity. Then again, a planet that's supposed to be 100% gas, except for its core. There's a pretty good chance we could actually be on one of its moons, you know. Gravity is back to normal while you're in the laboratory scenes. These enemies can be difficult to reach, so you might want to use Venus's weapon, the bubble bomb, on them. And these electroid enemies, why did I say electroid? The electric enemies you see there, are invincible until they shoot their bullet. So you have to wait for them and then strike. Low gravity also means the shrapnel from the hammer-type robots also flies farther. If you want to reach the Peach ship up there, you're gonna need to use Rush. The floor is frozen here, and it's difficult to maintain yourself while running along it, so... For best result, you should jump along them. At least they got the part about, the later planets of the solar system being cold, right? I didn't have to wait for the bullet to come. If you want to find the crystal in Jupiter, you have to climb up the ladder. Just going forward will miss the crystal. And take it to the boss, basically. And as you can see, another path is opened. Light troll there. Another light troll there. And then here's the crystal. The deep digger or the mega hand is required. For the Jupiter boss, we're going to use the bubble bomb. You got a frozen floor, and he hovers after you a bit for a couple of seconds before shooting the electric shock, followed by 4 bullets, and an attack with his talons. He's invincible while using the electric shock, so give him some very well-aimed bubble bombs here and there to whittle him down. The electric shock attack has limited range and leaves you wide open while using it, so I only use it against the boss it's weak against. We're going to get the energy balancer now. You pick up an weapon capsule. Really, Dr. Light? You talked like one of my friends on DeviantArt. Oh well. Alright, so that leaves Saturn. This stage alters gravity in certain parts. There are sections where gravity is intensified and sections where gravity is lowered. The pendulum enemies will also temporarily slow you down, which can be a bit annoying. The crystal of this planet is across the gap this way, and requires the Deep Digger or the Mega Hand. There's a little troll here. Tap jump lightly to get across low gravity scenes where there are spikes on the ceiling. Not sure if there are any, actually. You have to use the Mega Hand to get the big P chips here. You can't slide under them. Yeah, right here. You want to tap jump lightly to jump lower than maximum height to get across these. And you want to keep it held down to get across these. Be careful here. Saturn's weakness is the electric shock. You have to be careful where to use it, though. He starts by throwing his ring across and sliding. A light jump in between both will dodge it. And then he does the black hole, which is where you have to be careful about the electric shock since it immobilizes you. The black hole is like a, quote, nuke power-up, which draws some enemies in and creates a blast wave to damage others. And then you must destroy Saturn in order to get the rush jet. This is your last call to get any power-ups from Light's lab, so let's go ahead and do that. So, with this, we move on to Terra, where Mega Man is on like a lone planetoid, and Terra attacks him there. His weakness is in fact the Deep Digger. I just had several moments where I kept getting caught in this stall attack, so this was a bit shaky. For destroying Terra, you are given one last pretty useful special weapon, the Spark Chaser. Now we have another intermission here. So, here's a bit of a fun scene for anybody that's into shooting-style arcade games. You start with these asteroids, which are indestructible. You just have to maneuver around them. You can double-tap the same direction on the control pad to make Mega Man and Rush dash into that direction. Then you have these enemies to deal with. One charged shot and one uncharged shot will be enough to destroy them. Just aim carefully. Then, after that, you have to dodge 5 laser blasts. And then you're taken to the front of Wily's Star Station. You have to wait for the blast to go through before you can damage it at all. Shoot the seeking missiles as they come. Wait again. Dodge 4 bullets. And repeat the process. So with this, we can infiltrate Wily's lair. Remember the elements from the previous stages, same as with other Mega Man games. Here's Eddie again. There are alternate routes you can go through if you use the Deep Digger or the Break Dash. Falling ceiling caught me off guard. Throughout this stage, you will confront the exclusive robot masters of the Game Boy Mega Man series in sequence. Like right here, we have to fight Anchor. They're not as tough in this game as they were in their original games, and some of them actually do have a weakness. Not that I'm actually going to use them, though. Anchor is still not that easy. There are some optional routes you can go on the sides as you descend, where Proto Man can appear and give you a certain item. Right here, we're gonna face Quint, the easiest one of the four by far. This part can destroy you if you're not careful. The bird-type enemies can hit you off easily. As I explained about how much I hate the Uranus stage. And then you're required to use the Deep Digger or the Break Dash in order to progress. The energy saver that you get from collecting all four of the crystals will reduce your special weapon's energy by half, and that can be super useful to have. So now we're gonna face Punk. He's a bit easier in this game, because he delays before doing his dashing attack, so you can right there know whether you should jump or slide, though the Screw Crush is still pretty hard to dodge. There are spikes as you descend, so you gotta be careful. Again, I loathe these enemies. Alright, now we gotta deal with Ballade. That was a very bad moment to have the clutch attack happen. Not falling for it now. There. Up next, the traditional boss rush. Venus's weapon is actually the photon missile. It's just you can hardly land hits with it, so it's not really a weapon I bother using usually. That didn't go well. Not using that weapon ever again. I already explained Jupiter's weakness is the bubble bomb. And in this scene, the floor is not frozen. Mars's weakness is the salt water. You just have to be careful of certain attacks that are unavoidable if you have it equipped. Specifically this one up ahead. Saturn's is the electric shock, as I explained earlier. Neptune's weakness is actually the spark chaser. I explained before, Pluto's is the Grabbuster. Mercury's weakness is the black hole. It's just I prefer to use the Buster alone on him. Remember, If he hits you with his Grab Buster attack before he morphs, you lose one of your items. You could easily lose a whole energy tank if that happens, so beware. And this leaves Uranus. His weakness is actually the break dash. It's one of those weapons like the charge kick and the top spin, in that you take damage if you use it usually. You also can't use it while the ground is shaking. Do it while he's jumping to the other side like that, if you really want to make it work. Alright, I'm gonna refill the Spark Chaser in particular. Should be able to get maximum filled up anyway. Very long descent down here. Followed by another visit from Proto Man. Then we're off. The first phase of the Wily Machine is a gigantic hand that'll try to smash you. The weapon it's weak against is the salt water. The only problem is it's hard to aim with it. Even with the energy saver, I couldn't help running out of ammo during this boss fight with this weapon. And I forgot that I had those weapons tanks, so... After that, you have to fight another boss just like that, made even tougher. That was the left hand. Now here comes the right. This one is even faster, making it harder to outmaneuver. And then it also shoots a rocket that chases you and will try to grab and slam you. Slide under it while its palm is open. Up next, we have, this Wily Machine. First, the Wily Machine will, shoot out these missiles that will go straight into a different direction based on where you're at. Then it'll bring out this machine that will threaten to lift you into the spikes on the ceiling, which will damage you rather than kill you. Then you shoot the alarm bomb into the machine to cause it to detonate on it and inflict damage. Pay attention to the number on them on the later ones. Wait until it goes down to 1 before you shoot it. You can see they start on the left side and bounce from side to side. Wait until the 1 appears before you shoot it back at the machine. Alright, and for this phase of the battle, we're gonna use the Spark Chaser. Watch your jumping height as you jump over the ground shocks that Wily sends at you. Touching it will inflict damage rather than instant death. And you want to use the Spark Chaser. Then after that, we have an even more formidable fight awaiting us. That's what you get for trying to use a doomsday weapon to destroy just one character. This is not an easy boss by any means. And the Spark Chaser technically isn't a weakness. It's also kind of laying me down in this fight, as it kept going off the screen, so... After melting the floor, he does a different attack pattern. I'm more acquainted with this one here than the previous ones. There, got him. Then we have one more intermission here, where Mega Man and Rush escape narrowly, as the entire space station is obliterated. And then at the end of the game, it just shows you the main bosses as kind of a recap, with Mega Man just sitting there and looking up. Mega Man's weakness is that he's sympathetic, and he feels awful about destroying robots, thinking they could live peacefully alongside humans. So, that's kind of how Mega Man's feeling right now. Then he gets up and continues walking around. Followed by a jump scare from Dr. Wily. Then it was there where his capsule breaks apart. Then he does his signature false surrender bow. Then he realizes that Mega Man is right in front of him, and he gets up and runs away scared. And then you're stuck on the thank you for playing screen until you turn the power off. Alright, so that's the end of all 5 games on the Game Boy. While some people wouldn't consider these canon, they do still have their fun moments. I got some more interesting Mega Man games to play up ahead, with Mega Man 6 and onward. Unless I upload Mega Man 6 before this one. So we can look forward to playing those as well, and plenty more from other franchises. I am Colister, thank you for watching, and I'll see ya.